the place for the brave. Like the veterans we honor today, thanks to our man, John Basiliga, and his great company, Basiliga Hospitality. Like Joseph, Joey Day, Nanticoke, Joseph Doherty, South Abington, Frank Kalura, Carbondale, the United States of America. The place founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible, amazing, irreplaceable founding fathers, that the government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation. Not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom was not something that could be parceled out to groups chosen by the chosen few. It was not something that could be controlled by government or government officials, because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. If they lie, we are supposed to know better. That's part of freedom. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, uniquely on the planet, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro show, well, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And with that essential preamble dispensed with, we can now gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. Because we're committed to common sense, you can be assured that we will create a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a mad world. So I'm flying to Denver to see my son this tomorrow morning. I guess we take a bus from Scranton Wilkes-Barre to Philly and then fly from there. I don't know what is going to happen with this shutdown. Of course, the air traffic controllers, among others, within the flying infrastructure of this country, they are government employees, and they're not getting paid thanks to the dummy, doofus Democrats. And by the way, I was listening to Nancy try to. It's amazing. See, all the Democrats have is spin because their policies are sick and twisted. And all they want to do is capitalize on something that the Republicans do or that the economy does that they'll claim they could fix. And enough people are dumb enough to believe them after all their lies, decades and decades of lies. From they're pushing Mama off the cliff in her wheelchair. Social Security's going to go away with their mean old Republicans. Now it's over subsidies. And by the way, there is language in the proposal the Democrats made to spend that $1.5 trillion extra that we do not have, by the way. There's language in there which the speaker pointed to, chapter and verse. We played it yesterday. That provides Medicaid for illegal aliens. Like, these are facts. They're irrefutable. Who voted against keeping the government open? The Democrat Senate. And there was one main Democrat in the House who voted with the Republican majority to keep the government open. So they're closing the government and lying about it, which is all they do. I mean, it's actually disgusting. It's all they do. And if you're a Democrat, if you love the Democrat, what's this? I don't get it. Why do you let them lie to you like this? And you just sort of fall for it? Or you don't care? I just don't get it. I really don't get it. It's frightening. So Donald Trump and his team have engineered an agreement. They've engineered an agreement to settle, at least temporarily, the Gazan-Israeli conflict, the Hamas-led Gazans. Color me skeptical. I mean, I remember from Jimmy Carter's presidency, and I used to watch these things, believe it or not, more intensely then than I do now, in high school, grade school even. And I remember Anwar Sadat Sheikh, and there was Middle East peace, the Middle East peace process. Well, now Trump and circumstances have made Middle East peace a possibility. But let's not get carried away with all this. Let's just not. Cabinet guy giving me some advice. He's depending on when your flight leaves after you get to Philly, you might have to move quickly to your flight. Take the shuttle. It's quicker than walking to your gate. I'm sort of, I don't know. I love to walk at the airport. I hate to take any kind of transportation, but I'll keep that in mind, Cabinet guy, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the thought. So, yeah, I don't know. The shutdown is the Democrats' fault. Period. End of sentence. And anything else is a lie. Okay? Get it? It's that simple. I don't know what there is no other explanation. Oh, well, I heard Nancy this morning. Well, but the Republicans, the Democrats are saying, well, we can't trust Donald Trump. Well, then don't vote for it later. Why shut the government down? All the people who said this is an improper negotiating tactic, they lie and change the stories and just go against everything that they declared in principle months ago, years ago, over and over and over again. They just lie. It's astonishing. And so if it screws up my trip and doesn't let me get back to you guys to hang around like this, I'm going to be beyond livid. I will despise them even more. And that's hard to believe. All right, we got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. A little history, a little music. And then we've got Scranton School Director Bob Casey wants to talk to us about this ongoing saga. Chris Kelly from the Scranton. This is sad. I said the four horsemen of the hypocrisy, all hypocrites, all liars. Paige Cognetti, Wendy Mayapolsky Wilson, her henchman, chief henchman, Chris Kelly, and Billy Gaughan. The four horsemen of the hypocrisy. It's incredible. And Bob Casey's become a victim of their lies. We'll talk to him about that. And again, I tell you this, guys, the reason I focus on Scranton, not because I live in the city. I do. But because it's exactly what we are fighting across the country. The same idiocy. So we'll talk to Bob Casey when we come back. Someone who I've seldom agreed with, but he's a good Democrat. We'll be back. Dion. Murph says he moved from number 20, or they moved from 21 to number 4 this date, 1961, with that great song, Runaround Sue. I've got a specific memory of Runaround Sue. I think I've told you before, I was the drummer in a prison band, and I'm telling you, these guys were good. Not me. I'm mediocre. But I was the drummer. So there was a volunteer event that they let us come and set up and play. So the first song we chose was Runaround Sue. And this was our little joke because the warden's name was Sue. And we played that song, and she caught on, and that was it. That was because it was a big deal to play music for people that weren't in prison. These were normal people visiting the prison. And that was it. After we played Runaround Sue, she cut us off, and we were done playing for whatever. So, I'm telling you about these situations in Scranton. It's actually frightening. We've got the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the 4 hypocrites, and they're working together. So Wendy Mayapolsky Wilson, she's the chief hitman and spokesperson for Paige Cognetti, the mayor. And she wrote a column for Chris Kelly. Gave him the subject, said, oh my God, is this horror of all horrors? Congressman Rob Bresnahan, he's a Republican, showed up at a school director's event. Oh, in his district. And horror of horrors, Bob Casey, the Scranton school director, spoke to him. I want you to know how insane your mayor is and how insane the people around her are. And that they're coordinating Chris Kelly's columns to the campaign. Of course, he needs direction, but that's another story. All right. And Bob Casey, who, Bobby, you're probably one of 2 or 3 people I had in the studio to do an interview because you showed up. I didn't know I couldn't say no, but here you are on the blower. What, after reflection, what do you think about these insane people, Bob?
Well, I'm going to tell you where I'm at now, Bob, and I'm going to be very brief today. I consulted with my daughter, who's an attorney, and she's looking into what legal recourses we have against Wendy Wilson and the Cognetti campaign and whoever else might be in the area. She's
Chris
also
Kelly.
advised me.
Chris Kelly, who's their sock puppet, apparently.
She also advised me, until we know what we're doing legally, really not to comment on it. And she did say that we may want to check into the Society of Professional Journalism, because we don't understand how I only had one picture of Chelsea and myself.
Rob Bresnahan's wife from 4 years ago, right?
Right. Yeah, up at Shenanigans before he was even a congressman, and I was back on the school board. We were both private citizens.
And how does that picture get to Wendy Mayapolsky Wilson and Mayor Cognetti? And how does Wendy Mayapolsky Wilson and Mayor Cognetti know the column that Chris Kelly's going to write 2 days later?
Bob, the only thing I could say is I did send the photo to Chris Kelly to prove that I had a relationship prior to Sunday.
Well, you made the mistake of thinking he was a normal human being. That was one mistake. Because
Well,
a
but
normal
the
human
bottom
being would
line
say,
is,
well, okay, you got a point. Not sicko. No.
but I was shocked when we had a school board meeting on Monday night, and two of the directors came up to me afterwards and said, "Look at this." And I said, "How the hell did she get this?" Well, the only one who had the picture was me. The only one I sent it to was Chris Kelly. And the next thing I know, I'm being called, being made fun of my teeth, which were damaged because of cancer treatment. I had prostate cancer, and it went into the lymph nodes. So how she got it, I don't know. And part of me says, I'd like to know all the questions that nobody wants to answer. And if I find that person, they're going to start calling me Kreskin. But I did want to thank you, because you were very gracious to let me have my side of the story. I heard it on Rob O'Donnell, and I spoke to, I believe it was Sue Henry yesterday, and I'm sincere about this. If Paige and Wendy are listening,
they are.
I forgive them.
There you go.
They're not going to eat me up inside, because for some reason they dislike me. I don't know if it's because I called
you're
one
normal.
of their
Bob Casey, you're normal. How abnormal people don't like normal people. They just don't.
Well, I don't know if it's because I called one of their allies out on the school board on a very major issue. And when I asked Chris Kelly about it, why he never wrote about it, he said, "Oh, that's old. Forget about it." So, but
a direct conflict of interest. A direct conflict of interest for a school director voting on something related to a party that's paying her money. Yeah, that was nothing.
You said that, Bob. You said that. I didn't.
I did. I know the circumstances. No, it's crazy. Look the next time they run across ethics for all of their preaching, it'll be the first.
Well, I'm not perfect, Bob, and you know that. I've never voted for you. I never worked for you. I always worked against you.
Well, it's
and
funny.
You know that.
I know Bob Casey since he was selling office. He started a company selling office supplies. And I started my first radio station up in Oliphant, and he made a sales call, and we became friends. And again, we were on the opposite sides politically every time, but I like him always because he's normal. Crazy stuff.
But the main reason I called was I wanted to tell you thank you. I wanted to tell Sue Henry for having me, thank you, and Rob O'Donnell, thank you.
Well,
other than
our actual news, this is the place to get your news.
Well, at this point, I'm going to take my daughter's advice for once, who's an attorney in Philadelphia.
Yep.
And I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to pursue the legal avenues where I can.
Good.
And let the chips fall where they may. And there may be a lot of answers that come out if I pursue the legal course.
Well, I would love to see I hope you do, because I'd love to see and have discovery on the emails between Wendy Mayapolsky-Wilson and Chris Kelly, the mayor's campaign and Chris Kelly. That's what I would love to see.
Well, if this... Bob,
it is. It's like the Cuomo brothers. This is like the Cuomo brothers.
Bob, if this goes into legal action, we'll probably be able to get him through Discovery.
Exactly. So,
And I'm just a poor kid who graduated Tech High School.
well, the great Scranton Tech. I always add that. All right, well, Bob Casey, thank you very much. Scranton School Director Bob Casey, in the midst of a maelstrom of someone else's choosing. We appreciate it, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
All right, buddy. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our friend and a true patriot, John Basiliga. And it's the weekend. Basiliga Hospitality, Sergei's best nightclub, best night spot, best live music venue. They're open tonight. No cover. A Terra 519 right above at 519 Linden Street. Best fine dining, best new restaurant, best wine list. And the place is gorgeous. The Stegmeyer Mansion. It'll blow you away. Downtown Wilkes-Barre. And the food is service outstanding. And a pretty darn good bar, by the way. And then the 3 bar nightclubs. The Old Brook Inn, 309, Route 307, Springbrook Township. The quintessential neighborhood bar reimagined. And that is the Far Street Tavern. And then, brand new, and somebody just, Mary Regina sent me a note. She was at the Queen City Tavern. She said, awesome. Frank Kalura, lifelong resident of Carbondale. We lost him October 4th at his cottage, Newton Lake. He survived by his wife, Maureen, They recently celebrated their 28th anniversary. Born June 18, 1950 in Carbondale. He was a heavy equipment operator and especially proud of retiring from the U.S. Army with 20 years of both active duty and National Guard service. Later, he was employed as a corrections officer for the Department of Corrections at SCI Waymart. He had many, many friends. He achieved his dream of returning to Newton Lake, buying a cottage there, because he spent so much time in his childhood at that great lake. His sister Judy described him as the most colorful person she ever met. He lived life to the fullest. Survived by his son, a daughter, stepchildren, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nieces, nephews, cousins. Great family guy. And a great character, Frank Kalura, our veteran this hour. Brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, sunny, breezy, and cool, 58 degrees. Tonight, clear and cold with frost in spots. Oh, it's getting ugly. Low 32. Friday, sunny, 65. Saturday, sunny, 65. Sunday, cloudy and windy with rain likely, 60. So the fall is here, is it not? Crazy stuff, guys, isn't it? Listening to the, I don't know. And I'm going to be the MC tonight at the Lackawanna County Republican dinner, and I hope too many of them aren't mad at me. I made a commitment to Gene Barrett, a Democrat who's running as an independent for mayor of Scranton. He can win. And I'm excited for his candidacy. We can actually save Scranton from the left-wing lunatics and incompetence that is beyond off the charts. And for people and ideologies shared by the mayor and people like Wendy Mayapolsky Wilson and Chris Kelly and the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, and that is Billy Gaughan. He's in a picture with our odious governor today. It's birds of a feather. Let's go to the phones. Razor from Peckville. How are you, Razor?
Good morning. How are you?
Great.
So I just want to talk about what happened yesterday. I mean, it couldn't have happened without Trump, and the whole world is saying it.
Correct.
Could not have happened without Trump, unless it's not even a full 9 months. What this guy has done, he has turned the whole world to the right. It's just freaking amazing what he's done. And I can't even put it to words. You're the wordsmith. I can't do it. But I do want to thank one person for giving Trump this opportunity to do what he's doing now. It is Biden. Because if Biden had lost to Trump, Trump would not have been as strong as he is now.
I agree.
I agree, right? No way would he have been this strong to get anything like this done. He would have had all of this stuff over his head.
Let me step back on that, because instead of reversing so much of the nightmares of the Biden administration, I think Trump would have kept getting stronger anyway.
But nobody would have appreciated it, because he would have been too still disrespected by all the things hovering over him. That 4 years proved how bad he was treated. That 4 years was a buffer to get people to see what happened, and nobody would have seen it. None of them. Half of this world would not have seen it. I agree what he would have been able to do. I think now everyone has to respect what he's. I don't care if they believe it, if they want to believe it or not. He is amazing, and he should be respected for. And I want to tell you, I would wish if the Nobel Prize went to him, I would wish that he would turn it down. I would wish if he went up there and said, "Listen, you guys are a farce. You give Obama the Nobel Peace Prize before he does anything only because he's black. And you wouldn't give it to me. It took me to solve 9, 10 wars in 9 months. You're giving it to me for now. You can take it and shove it. You're worthless. I don't want it. I would love that, except I would also love him to be the recipient.
All right. We'll say, let me say this. My skepticism about whether these ancient hatreds can be ended with logic, with fact.
No, it's not logic. It's money. It's not logic.
That's logic. That's
he's
logic.
Showing,
they want money. They want money, and they want prosperity more than they want to keep fanning the flames of their hatred.
And that's all that matters. So whether they drop hating Israel, I don't care. As long as they respect them and leave them the hell alone. That's what
Correct.
needs to happen.
Correct.
What they think doesn't matter to me. Not at all.
Oh, exactly. But does the logic overcome hatred? Does self-interest overcome hatred? What we see with our left here in this country, we see with the voters of people who voted for Kamala Harris, they wanted destruction, including of their own lives, the futures of their families, over voting for Donald Trump and better policies. So I
agree.
You know, to depend upon human beings and the human condition, even acting in its own self-interest, it's not always a lock.
Right, but that's why you're going to have all these checks. There's going to be so many checks on this going forward.
Yeah.
With all of the Arabs getting together, all of those countries getting together, and with the Abraham Accords, because, you know, they're going to expand, there's going to be so many checks on what's going on there from now on, and it's just going to be amazing.
I'm happy you mentioned, because I was going to point that out. The Abraham Accords, remember who was left when the idiots got into office? You had the Saudis ready to sign. You had others ready to sign on. Peace could break out in the Middle East. This could be extraordinary, even if it doesn't hold regarding Hamas and Iran. But we'll see. It's a significant.
I mean, we don't know what's going to happen now. I agree.
Yeah, it's a significant effort and a significant achievement. Thank you, Razor.
I do. So I thank God for Biden for this. I'm telling you.
Don't
you
thank
would
God
not
for
have
Biden.
seen
Please don't.
For what he for
don't
giving
thank
Trump
God for
this
anything about Joe Biden. Please don't thank.
Trump this opportunity.
No, don't thank. That's 4 years of torture and disgustingness with that scumbag and all. Please, no.
Well, look
no.
what we got.
There's no thank
Trump.
God for anything related to Joe Biden except that he's gone.
Yeah, but Trump is so much stronger because of it. Politically, he's the strongest president we've ever had, ever. It's amazing.
All right, my
Love
man.
It.
Thank you.
All right, take it easy. Have a good day.
Hey, we got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. The Beatles. They moved up to number one this date, 1965. It's hard to believe it's that long ago. With that song yesterday. And Google bought YouTube. $1.65 billion. Seems almost quaint. It was a stock deal, though. So if they hung on to their Google stock, they're worth tens of billions of dollars. Mother Teresa, St. Teresa for October 9th. Charity for the poor is like a living flame. The drier the fuel, the brighter it burns. In your service to the poor, do not give only your hands, but also your hearts. Charity, to be fruitful, must cost us. Give, 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 give until it hurts. To love, it is necessary to give. To give, it is necessary to be free from selfishness. And oh, was she, St. Teresa. Thank you, Mary Regina. There was a point I was going to bring up, and oh no, this is our guy. It could be Chuck, because he writes in all caps. He says, Dear Bob ALTS, always love the show. Please don't forget to remind your listeners about their mail-in ballots and voting. No, for the 3 Supreme Court judges, left-wing lunatic hacks. And that's what they are. Donahue, Doherty, Wecht. Donahue, Doherty, actually. We spell it Doherty up here, or pronounce it Doherty up here. Wecht. 3 political hacks who are destroying our Supreme Court. You've got to vote no. You've got to vote no. They've got to get out. And then we can have an election and see if we can find a normal judge to replace them. Yeah. In any event. Headed towards the top of the hour, we've got the Weekend Warrior coming up after this. A lot to do today, especially since I'm not going to talk to you for almost a week. Yeah, for about a week. So feel free to check in with us, 570-883-0098 to call or to text. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:07:21 here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Thursday, October 9, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga hospitality as we head into the weekend, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we lost this year, but celebrate today, like Frank Kalura, Carbondale, Sam Messina, West Pittston, Joseph Doherty, South Abington Township. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, letting you know that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in an insane world. A couple of you had texted in regarding these horrible Supreme Court judges trying to be retained. The three-headed radical judges have slick TV ads running for retention, which tells you that they know they are in trouble. Yep. Another Bob, the vote no to retaining these judges is working. For the first time ever, I saw a commercial for all three judges pleading to vote yes. God bless Scott Pressler for all his work in Pennsylvania, says Wendy in Taylor. And then says, not that Wendy. So there's two Wendys in Taylor. Love it. Ginny C says, checking in. Just put the radio on. So where the hell do you think you're going for a week and not taking me and Lorraine with you? She says, like Mom always said, even cars have a spare. I will hurry back. Thank you, Ginny. And I was in touch with Lorraine last night. I said to Lorraine I would like a poem before I go away. We'll see if she does it. Somebody sent the link to the journalism group that Chris Kelly should be reported to for his candidate collusion. It's unbelievable. I mean, the columns of Chris Kelly's columns are simple-minded enough and full of enough lies. He's got to get lies from Wendy and Mayor Cognetti. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And Bill Gaughan, yeah, and Pat McKenna. Pat McKenna is Bill Gaughan's hateful sidekick, and Wendy Mayapolsky Wilson is the hateful sidekick of Mayor Paige Cognetti. Why do they need people to think for them? I don't know. Oh, it's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. It's Thursday. NFL tonight, college, all of that. And you know what that means? That means it's time for the Weekend Warrior. And here he is, Mike, Sid, Hallinan. Sid, how are you?
Good, Bobby. How you doing?
Great to be back with you again this week, although it means time's flying. Oof.
Yeah, it is. It's going by fast.
Dear Lord.
Time waits for no one, my friend.
It does not. Do we have a decent NFL game tonight?
Well, it could be. It all depends on what Eagle, if the Eagles' offense catches
this is
gear.
Eagles-Giants tonight. That's right.
Eagles-Giants tonight. The Eagles have owned them now for the last 15 years. It's kind of been a lopsided record against the Giants. But it all depends. I mean, if the Eagles get it together offensively, the Giants are a little banged up. So are the Eagles. Their offensive line is banged up. Let's see what happens. But I'm going with the Eagles, who the line is down to 6.5 from 7.5.
Really?
So I'm going to take the Eagles over the Giants, as always.
And Sid, that's a big difference. When the line moves that way to under a touchdown from over a touchdown, it means that the money is going in a particular direction.
Yeah, there's money. There's giant money coming in, I would imagine, if it dropped the point, you know? So.
Well, you know the over-under on this one.
I really don't know, Bob. I don't pay much attention to the over and under. I really don't.
All right, the Pie Man's coming up later. He'll tell us. But
the Pie Man's not going to tell you. Well, he has a script, don't he? He's pretty well prepared, isn't he, all the time?
He's ready for action, yes.
He's ready for action. I'm talking off the cuff.
Well, he gets to support, he gets to talk only about one team. So, you got to cover college and pros.
That's right. That's right. I got a couple of college games.
You see the Eagles tonight covering the 6.5. Talk to us about college now.
Yes. College, I have 2 on Saturday. The Red River rivalry, Oklahoma. I like Oklahoma over Texas. Oklahoma is, believe it or not, getting 1.5. And I'll take Oklahoma in that one. The other one is a nice game on Saturday night. Oregon is at home with the upstart Indiana Hoosiers. Oregon is a 7-point favorite. I'm going to take Oregon.
And Sid, is Oregon in the Big Ten now?
Yeah, Oregon plays in the Big Ten, Bob. Yeah.
But you can't. Yeah. You just can't keep track of this stuff. I can't. Anyway.
Well, you have West Coast teams. Half of that Pac-12 is in the Big Ten, and it doesn't seem like old traditional Big Ten football, but you know how money moves things, my friend. It moves it. So
honestly,
it is what it is.
All right, and let's move on to the pros on Sunday. What do you got?
On Sunday, I like the Dallas Cowboys over Carolina. Carolina's won their last 2. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. They're a 3-point favorite. Dak Prescott is playing outstanding. I don't normally like to take Dallas. I like to stay away from them, but I'm going to go with Dallas. A 3-point favorite over Carolina.
Okay. And?
I love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. Baker Mayfield, if he ended the season now and awarded an MVP award, I think you would have to give it to Baker. He's played outstanding. They're a 3-point favorite at home against the 49ers, who's also playing good football right now. But Tampa Bay, I like Tampa Bay a lot, and I'm going to stick with Tampa Bay as a 3-point favorite over the 49ers to win.
All right. What other NFL do you have for us?
And the one more I have is right now, and nobody's giving them much attention, but the Detroit Lions are back where they were last year around this time, putting up an awful lot of points. They are a 2.5-point favorite over the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody's afraid always to bet against the Chiefs, but the Warriors not. I love Detroit. Minus 2.5 to beat Kansas City. Kansas City is not winning those close games that they did last year. I'm not saying the magic is worn out on Mahomes. Mahomes is still a great quarterback. But, boy, the Lions are put together pretty good. So we're going to go with Detroit to knock off the Chiefs on Sunday.
And Sid, I want you to think about this now. You're the weekend warrior, but – you coached the St. Anthony's Hawks for so long. I was thinking, I said, we may have to switch the name to the halftime Hawk.
The halftime Hawk isn't bad. Bob, I'll go with any nickname. You know me. I like the attention. So what the hell?
All right. What other
I told Mars. I was telling Mars. You mentioned him on the radio. He was laughing.
Mars, he's always laughing.
Me and Mars, we haven't walked in a while. I need a knee replacement, and Mars is hobbling around. So the Road Warriors, we've been out of commission for a little bit. So.
All right.
Hey, Bob, one more thing before you get off. What do you think of Penn State's loss to UCLA last week?
It didn't surprise me because I was watching the game up at the Marjan.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're that great of a football team. And Chet Parlavecchio gave the analysis. He said they've got a quarterback who seems to have every physical tool but hasn't gotten better in his 4 or 5 years at Penn State. He hasn't developed.
Yeah, I think, though, in his defense, and I agree with Chet. I really do. I agree with him 100%. They spent a lot of money in NIL this year, but they're still weak at the receiver spots. Their receivers can't get separation from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's what I've seen so far. But talent-wise, I mean, they're
Who do they play? Who does Penn State play this week?
They have the Smack kids from Northwestern.
Okay.
They're playing all the smart kids this weekend.
But
who the
Sid,
hell?
every game's a question mark.
Yeah, it sort of is. There's no question about it. And I did tell you a couple of weeks ago, if I took Penn State again, to punch me in the face the next time you saw me. And you're still pretty well put together, so I'm not taking that chance.
Dear Lord. So we got Dallas, Tampa Bay, Detroit. Any others?
Yeah, that's really it, Bob.
Okay.
I'll just kick back and watch the rest of them. Monday night doesn't interest me that much, but these 6 games seem to be good enough. We were 4-2 last week, so I'm sort of climbing my way out of it. So. You're riding. They won't repossess my car this week. So.
Right. Sid Hallinan, Mike Hallinan, the weekend warrior, as intrepid as ever.
Thanks,
we'll
Bob.
be back on the Bob Cordaro Show after this.
Have a good weekend.
You too, Sid. Thanks.
All right, Bobby.
Do you believe in magic? Love and Spoonful moved into the top 10 charts at number 10 this date, 1965, Murph tells us. Bob Cordaro back on the eponymous program. Somebody say, hey, Bob, is this Tom H. guy a good one to vote for commissioner? I'm a Chet Murley guy. And Tom is a good guy. He's a good guy. But I'm for Chet Murley. I just think he's great. I think we need a new majority, not a reworking of the old majority. I think Gaughan's got to be sidelined for the sake of the county. And the only way that could happen is for Chet Murley to win. So that's my view. And we're in fact we're going to try to have Chet Murley on today. Somebody said, morning, Bob. Bugs are checking in, out working yesterday. Just so happens one job was at the Crystal Lake Hotel, helping Patrick out. And he said Patrick couldn't speak more highly of you and said I was there Sunday. And the great song. That's right. I'm happy you reminded me of that, Bugsar. I've got the song that Patrick shared with me, and I read it because I don't think anybody wants me to sing. Just quickly, let me do it before I go to the phone. This is from our guy Patrick up at the Patrick Oliveri at Oliveri's Crystal Lake Hotel, which is awesome. He said, if you don't like the way that we do things today in the good old USA, if there's more liberty over the sea, you don't have to stay. If you don't give a hoot, feel the flag, we salute. If you can't sing our nation's song, if you can't be true to the red, white, and blue, then go back where you belong. And that's Jolson, Al Jolson and Jimmy Cagney. Thanks for reminding me of that, Jeff. I appreciate it. LTS back at you. We were talking about the judges. Let's the Supreme Court judges we need you to vote against. And they are the three amigos, Wecht, Donahue, and Doherty. All political hacks from Philadelphia and Pittsburgh political machines. And they're a disgrace. And on that subject, let's go to John from Scranton. Hi, John. How are you?
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Great.
Bob, these judges, we vote no, right? No on all three, right?
Correct. They're awful.
Yeah.
They don't care about literally don't care about the Pennsylvania Constitution that they are sworn to uphold. All they care about is the left-wing lunatic agenda.
Uh-huh. Okay. No, I'm not voting for the mayor. I'm only voting for the mayor because I'm going to vote for Trish Bynum for mayor.
She's a good candidate. I'm Gene Barrett because I think he can actually win. I don't think the city's ready for a Republican mayor right now, but that's just my view. But she's a good candidate, a real good candidate.
So I'm Republican, so I can vote independent?
Yes, you can vote for anybody. Yeah,
Okay.
like I'm registered Republican, but I committed to Gene Barrett back in January. So whoever ran, but I was already committed to, and happily so, by the way. And he could win. He could win. I've been following this. He could possibly win. He really can. We got to get rid of this Mayor Many Names and her Wendy sidekick and all this nonsense. Chris Kelly.
Yeah, look, I understand.
I know.
Okay.
And John, then I could drive my truck again without having to change the tires every month.
That's for sure. These roads in the city of Scranton are a mess.
And we have the federal government handed us $60-some million to fix them, and we didn't get it done. Unreal.
How about that city council building? Look how long it took them to fix that.
Well, but it's election year, so they had to make it look like it was fixed now. So the mayor could run for two offices at once. Yeah.
Two offices at once. Could you imagine she wants to run for two offices at once?
Arrogance.
My God.
arrogance off the charts.
She can't do one the right way. She wants to run for two.
I know. Well, because the left wingers, they always want to do more damage.
Isn't that sad, Bob? Isn't that sad?
I know it. Well, John, thank you for asking about the judges. That's an important deal. It really is.
It is. I'll know for 3, definitely.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yep.
John from Scranton. Now, something I want to point out. Let me tell you how awful the newspapers are. Now, the one newspaper, the Scranton Times, just for example, Governor Josh Shapiro's on the front page. He's walking with one of the 4 horsemen of the hipocalypse, Billy Gaughan, the awful, awful left-wing lunatic Lackawanna County Commissioner, the person who would be king, who thinks he could run the county on his own and then accuses Trump of the same. Again, they always accuse you of what they're doing. And they have the picture of him on the front. Now, here's the headline. Shapiro unveils $39 million in funding, giving you the impression that he brought $39 million to Northeast Pennsylvania. No, it's $39 million for the whole state. He didn't bring $39 million here. And speaking of Gaughan, you turn the page, and they gave some $5,000. Lackawanna County gave $5,000. It's a good business, but $5,000 to a business that does wigs. And I'm thinking to myself, there are hundreds and hundreds, I wouldn't say thousands, hundreds and hundreds of other hairstylists across the county. But Gaughan gives it to this one, the $5,000. Is there $5,000 for every? I mean, these are, by the way, and I know this, these are sources of great jobs, great livelihoods, great careers. My daughter does it out in Sacramento. So why would you pick one and give them $5,000? If you're not giving money based on maybe the size of the business, whatever, to all of them. But it's another excuse to Billy Gaughan, who's been a horrible commissioner, who's mismanaged the reassessment, who's raised taxes 33% when opportunities were there to reduce spending and limit the tax increase. It's insane. It's really crazy. And another reason to be for Chet Murley, for Lackawanna County Commissioner, he's not part of, nor is Chris Chermak, this intra-party fight between Billy Gaughan and his faction, Judge Nealon, Pat McKenna, et al., well, Mayor Many Names, Wendy Whackjob, all of them. And Marty Flynn, etc. End the Democrat Party inner fight, vote for Chet Murley. That's what I say. All right. We need to take a break because we've got the Veterans Tribute coming up. Bob Cordaro, The Eponymous Show. We'll be back with all that. Our Veterans Tribute this hour brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And just one of his great companies today, because the weekend is nigh. Basiliga Hospitality. Let's talk about these award-winning properties. A Terra 519, Best Fine Dining, Best New Local Restaurant, Best Wine Selection. All of those without a doubt. Sergei's the Nightclub, open tonight. Winner, Best Nightclub, Best Live Music. And it's fun, even for an old fogey like me. Far Street Tavern, winner, Best Bar Food, Best Neighborhood Bar, without a doubt. Queen City, Downtown Elephant, winner, Best Bar. Scranton Art House, winner, Best Movie Theater, 3 years in a row. The Old Brook Inn, Best Outdoor Dining, 2 years in a row. Best place to have a first date, and I would tell you fifth date. 5 years in a row. And then, I think it's my favorite, the Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre. Awesome. Joseph Doherty. We lost him October 3rd at age 95. He was from South Abington Township. Born in Scranton, West Scranton in particular. He was a graduate of West Scranton High School and a veteran of the United States Army, deployed to Germany and serving in the Korean War. Joe was happily married for 53 years to the late Ann Morgan Doherty, with whom he raised 6 children. He had a number of jobs throughout his career and retired from PNC Bank. He loved horseshoes, beanbags, avid hunter. He loved baseball, football. He loved gardening and making his own Poppy's pickles. Joseph Doherty was preceded in death tragically by 3 of his children, Joseph, Michael, and Paul. He's survived by 2 sons, a daughter, 10 grandchildren, and 12 great-grandchildren. What a legacy. Joseph Doherty, our great veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker today. Sunny, breezy, and cool, 58 degrees, 49 outside the studios as I speak. Tonight, clear and cold with frost and spots, 32 degrees. Friday, sunny, 65. Saturday, sunny, 65. Sunday, cloudy and windy with rain likely, 60. Somebody texts in, Mr. Paul texted this to me. It was something I was going to mention anyway. Pretty big deal. Chuck Schumer, the disgrace of all disgraces, phoniest person on the planet. He's locked into a tie with a lot of people, by the way. Schumer says the shutdown gets better for the Democrats every day. Well, see, they don't care. They don't care. Do you see that? This is the proof. They don't care about you. They don't care about government services. They don't care about anything they're lying about. It gets better and better for us every day. God, sickening. Absolutely sickening. You normal Democrats, you better take your party back. And short of that, do not vote for them. Now, we've got the epitome, unfortunately, where I live, Lackawanna County, with Billy Gaughan, and Scranton with Mayor Cognetti. Awful. There's literally no concern for the people they represent. Look at these, I almost said a curse. Look at the people in Illinois, the mayor and the governor, Johnson and Pritzker. They literally don't care if the citizens of Chicago's are getting killed. They're not taking any help for the crime problem that they helped create. Not happening. All right, well, I think of these sickening, disgusting people. I have to think of something good. You know that song. You know that sound. And there's more. It is the Pie Man cometh. Peter Della Porta. How are you, my friend?
Robert! Good morning.
We just couldn't have a better leader than John Fetterman, I'm telling you.
A beautiful, gorgeous Thursday morning.
Yes, a little cool for my taste, but that's okay.
And what wouldn't be great? Our Fighting Phils had a huge win last night.
Oh, did they? I did not know that.
Oh, God. Yeah, their bats came alive. Kyle Schwarber hit 2 Schwar bombs over 500 feet onto the roof.
Wow.
They beat the Dodgers, 8-2.
And what are they down 2-1 now?
It's 2-1 now. They're playing tonight. And if they win tonight, the series is tied. It comes back to Philadelphia for all the marbles.
All right. Well, what's your prediction? Let's do a quick prediction on the Phils tonight.
They're going to win. They're going to win tonight. Their bats have come alive. I think they were kind of like, starstruck and like frozen up there at bat, with all the stress and, this is prime time and that. But
how is that? Come on. Number one, they're professionals getting paid millions of dollars a year. Number two, they do it every night. And number three, they've been in the playoffs about 8 years in a row. How could they be starstruck? Right. What are you talking about, Pie Man?
Well, that's a good point, Bob. But you know what? Schwarber finally gets a home run, and it opened up the floodgates.
We might have to have you start spinning for the Democrat. We're going to have you start spinning for Chuck Schumer. with that kind of nonsense.
Oh my God!
All right, but we're not here. We're not here for all of that. I would never accuse you of doing that. But we got to get to the.
Oh my God! The biggest phony ever walked the planet.
We got to get to the Eagles. Tell me what's happening. What's going to happen tonight?
Well, the 4-1 Eagles are headed up the New Jersey Turnpike to take on the 1-4 Giants at MetLife Stadium for Thursday Night Football, 8:15.
Personally, I'd take Route 95, but that's me.
Okay.
Not the bike, not the turnpike.
I know you stopped by one of those steakhouses, Peter Luger's or whatever, a little detour, but
yes.
or Rayo's.
Rayo's, we go to Rayo's with Bo, yeah.
Yeah, that's the deal.
Well, tonight's his night, speaking of. Yeah, tonight, Thursday night's his table.
Yeah.
All right, so but I digress. What's going to happen tonight? Tell us.
The only way to watch the game is on, the way it is now, Prime Video and NFL Plus.
Okay.
Anyway, there's no more undefeated teams in the NFL. The Eagles lost last week to the horrible game to the Broncos. The Eagles gave away a victory. The defending Super Bowl champs haven't played well, as we talked last week, Bob. Mm-hmm. At halftime, they had a 14-point lead, no offense in the second half, just 7 punts. Saquon Barkley had 6 carries for 30 yards, and the Eagles' defense allowed the Broncos to score 18 points in the fourth quarter. The Eagles now have, also on the other side of the ball, the Eagles have the 31st ranked pass offense. And they just can't seem to put together a sustained two halves. Saquon Barkley, who was the best in the NFL last year, has only been averaging 53 points a game and 3.2 yards per carry. It's stunning. That's 72 yards less per game than last year.
Wow. Because, I don't see him even receiving passes. He was a double threat last year.
The offense is in complete chaos. I think a lot has to do with, Bob, we talked about this, you and I, 2 years ago. They have a rookie coordinator, Kevin Patullo.
Again.
And his unit is hugely underperformed this season. They struggle to run the ball, pass with consistency in main drives. They're 22nd in first downs converted and 29th in the league in yards per play and 16th in expected points. It's an offense that returned 10 of 11 starters from a Super Bowl team.
It's got to be the coordinator, right?
Right. It's stunning. It's stunning. Now, the Giants, a lot has to do with both offensive and defensive line are heavily injured. Tonight, Jalen Carter's questionable. Glenn Dickerson's out. Grant Calcaterra's out. They have a lot of injuries. For the Giants, this new quarterback, rookie quarterback, Jackson Dart gets his first start prime time. I think you probably know the Giants went with Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback and went 0 for 3. What a disaster that was. And they decided to make Dart their starting quarterback 2 games ago, and he won. And he won against the undefeated Chargers. Had a great game. So and also the Giants have a good running back, Tyrone Tracy. So my predictions are, the Giants are terrible against the run. So expect Saquon to have a huge game. They have to stop the Giants' run game. The Eagles have significant advantages on the outside, the receivers versus the Giants' secondary. Hurts and A.J. Brown have to get on the same page. But remember, this is a divisional game, and they are always a war. But it feels like, to me, Bob, a bounce-back game for the Eagles.
Okay.
So
your prediction, drum roll. Yeah. Prediction.
Let's remember last year, it took them until October to get their act together after a loss to Tampa Bay. The Eagles are listed as a 7.5-point favorite. Over-under's 40. So my prediction is the Eagles 30, the Giants 17, and the Eagles going 5-1.
30-17. That's the Pie Man's word. Eagles 30-17. So they cover the spread. So you and the Weekend Warrior are right there.
And next week the Eagles go to Minnesota to play the Vikings against quarterback Carson Wentz.
Whoa, Prince Harry.
Yeah, Prince Harry.
Well, Pie Man, that you got it 30-17. He's on the record.
Right.
Our
so
man,
tonight,
the Pie Man.
So tonight, Bob, go Eagles and go Phillies.
All right. Well, I'm rooting for both. Because of the Pie Man. Because of the Pie Man. Not despite the Pie Man, because of him. All right. The Pie Man cometh. The Pie Man predicteth. And the Pie Man goeth.
All right.
We'll
Great
take a
show,
break.
Brother. Love you.
We'll be back after this.
All right.
The Who, they released their hit I Can See for Miles, Murph tells us. This date, 1967. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. I told you I get Bill O'Reilly every day. It's one of the things I get. And he's focusing on J.B. Pritzker, that pig. I'm sorry to use a name like that because I'm no waif myself. He says, I think he's the worst governor in the country. Makes Gavin Newsom look like John Hancock. For 6.5 years, he's sat in Springfield, Illinois, and done absolutely nothing, as about 4,000 Chicagoans have been murdered. Pritzker could have called in the Illinois National Guard to assist Chicago PD in dismantling the drug gangs that commit most of the homicides. He could have also campaigned against the left-wing lunatic Soros DA, Fox. He could have also criticized the rules of engagement for the Chicago PD, such as you can't chase a suspect. Yes. O'Reilly continues, did you know that those are my words. He continues, did you know that 80% of the murder victims are African Americans? But no, old JB was otherwise occupied, raising taxes and spending money on windmills. Now President Trump has embarrassed Pritzker by sending federal authorities to Chicago in order to impose order. The governor's incoherent response is to say Mr. Trump wants to rig the election in 2026. Yes, Chicago's familiar with rigged votes, but JB is living in the twilight zone. He's traveling in another dimension. You didn't do your job, Governor. Simple as that. Too many coffins. What a disgusting fool. Yuck. JB Pritzker. I'm telling you, these people are sickening. Absolutely sickening. Masquerading as public servants. It's Somebody says we need a new John Fetterman slogan for the Democrat Party. We already have his for the Eagles. You can say, how about the current state of the Democrat Party is so much worse than the Democrat Party. Very good. That's one of our great listeners. Bob, the President Joseph R. Biden expressway signs are an embarrassment to Northeast PA. The sign should be removed and placed with duplicates at our southwestern states' borders with Mexico to memorialize the ongoing social, monetary, and other negatives placed upon our country and citizens by the 46th President's open borders policy. ALTS, says Tenor Jim from Wilkes-Barre. Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you what, and we suffer exactly like the country does, the left-wing states do. Because we've got left-wing lunatics, one running the city of Scranton, one trying to run the county by himself. And they all could be voted to oblivion. You vote for Chet Murley for Lackawanna County Commissioner, Billy Gaughan is sidelined. He can't hurt you anymore. You vote for Gene Barrett for mayor, and Wendy, the henchman, and this awful Mayor Cognetti can't hurt us anymore. And we could turn the city around and get it back. By the way, she talks about corruption. There have been, to my personal knowledge, and I'm told much more, between board members that Mayor Cognetti has appointed and jobs she's given out, there are at least 5 people arrested. We're talking about corruption. And I told you about the bid rigging that took place on this Capouse Avenue splash pad. Still sitting there unbuilt. It's incompetence, it's corruption, it's left-wing lunacy. All of it. The trifecta for this awful mayor. And then you put, to top it all off, she's running for U.S. Congress as she's running for mayor of Scranton. And promising you that she'll be there even less. No DPW director. Can't hire a DPW director. I said, why? Because there's no DPW people with DPW experience that are transgender or meet her other check marks. By the way, garbage collection today. We got to play our song, Bulldog. We got to play Stick Out Your Can. They got my garbage this morning. Let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We're going to return, and we've got Chet Murley, Lackawanna County Commissioner candidate. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. 11:10 a.m. here in the great Northeast. That's what my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me on this beautiful Thursday, October 9, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great company, Basiliga Hospitality, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. Veterans we've lost this year, but celebrate today thanks to John. Like Joseph Doherty, South Abington Township, Frank Kalura, Carbondale, and Sam Messina, West Pittston. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that because of our commitment to common sense, we will, in fact, provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you. And we need it, man. We got these kind of leaders. Holy cow. And sadly, you know, our Democrat Party, in my view, for many, many years was immune to this insanity, the insanity of Washington, D.C. and Harrisburg. Now they're part of the same mess. They sign on to it. We have a fool as a county commissioner, Billy Gaughan, who's trying to run the county on his own. He's filing lawsuits. He's filing appeals. He's getting help from judges who put themselves, who are closely allied with him politically, and put themselves on the election board to do things against the county home rule charter. He's governing by himself, and he's got a no kings sign against Donald Trump and made an impassioned speech at a no kings rally in downtown Scranton. It's insane. These people are insane. That doesn't count the tax increase. Well, I've told you, what has been happening is that little Billy Gaughan and Pat McKenna, uses Billy Gaughan as a sock puppet and actually runs the county. He was the disgraceful editorial writer for the Scranton Times. Do I need say more? Two left-wing lunatics in a pod. And he's fighting with Marty Flynn, who's going to over who the top Democrat's going to be. We don't care. Stop destroying the county. Well, you know how we prevent that and end that? We vote for Chet Murley. And here he is. Chet, how are you?
Robert, thanks for having me on. How are you?
I'm sorry I got into a lather there, but every time I think about this, I just get furious. You're trying to, and I'll tell you what, I thank you for running. I know you've been asked so many times before, and so many people know you and know what a quality guy you are. And thank you for stepping up and running, because you've got to end this madness.
Thanks for those kind words. You're right. I was very happy with my life, and I certainly didn't need this. But quite frankly, Lackawanna County government is broken. It's broken, and it needs to be fixed.
Now, tell us a little. All right, we know the family name. Your uncle, Gino Murley, the great Gino Murley Center. All of the things your family has contributed. But let's talk a little bit about your background quickly.
I've had a very storied career. I started I went to Keystone. I got my associate's degree. I got my Bachelor of Science from Penn State in forestry. I worked for the Forest Service in California for a season.
Wow.
Working on a genetic tree project, climbing trees, selecting trees and climbing them to get the pollen in the spring, the cones in the fall, and the top wood for grafting. And it went to the Placerville Nursery, and we worked on ponderosa pine, and that was used for regeneration of forest. But the bulk of my career, I started with the Pennsylvania Gas and Water Company, and they actually had a forestry department. But the job wasn't opening, so I got into and I worked construction, and then through successful positions, I was in charge of Scranton in the 90s, the early to mid 90s, and then I became director of operations, and I had responsibility for Williamsport, Sunbury, Bloomsburg, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Honesdale. And with that, I was able to work on a tremendous amount of specialty projects, projects such as taking the cogen plant, which was a comb-fired fluidized bed boiler. After that was put in Archibald to burn the column, produce electricity, produce steam for a greenhouse, hence the name cogeneration. Once that was shuttered and mothballed, it was going to China. We revived it. We were able to run a 6-mile pipeline from Keystone, and eventually 10 years later, a 16-mile pipeline from Alliance, and that went to that plant to generate electricity, enough electricity just with Keystone alone to handle about 4 Blakely boroughs, because that's about what their power consumption is.
That's great stuff.
And then once UGI took over, in my position, they like to put their own people in those positions. I was able to go to the shale region for 8 years and worked with a group of people. I pulled some people from the utility, and we actually took the first pipeline from Susquehanna County into the Millennial Pipeline, which brings gas into New York City. So I've had a great career. I will tell you this, I've worked on budgets. I've done capital, maintenance, and operating budget. And I will say that 2 weeks into the next month, we had accountability. We got a printout of our expenditures, and they were compared to our budget. And if we were off by 5% up or down, we had to write a variance. I have about 6 to 8 hours into the county looking at budget, and I've had an individual help me to uncover some expenditures. And I will say the county needs more accountability when it comes to spending.
Well, we got crushed with a tax increase, and the arrogance of incumbent solo commissioner Billy Gaughan. His partner realized that he was running the county into the rocks and left. He said this. Yeah. He just said, "I got to get out of here," and he ignored Chris Chermak's suggestions. By the way, prepared by some of the most qualified people in the county. And he said, "Did you write these in crayon?" Like disgusting arrogance. Well, again, we
right
appreciate
about that,
you.
Bob.
We appreciate you being in the middle of this. We do.
You are right. You had the people, the taxpayers of Lackawanna County had an 11% increase 6 years ago, followed by a 7% increase 2 years ago, followed by a 33+% increase. So over 50% without compounding it over the last 6 years. And I spoke to somebody yesterday that gave me a great analogy. Now that people are out there treading water, the county's going to throw them an anchor and hit them with reassessment.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. And I don't know. It's things are just awful and scary. I'm happy you've jumped into the breach and with the Democrats in the middle of their fight, people would normally say, well, a Republican can't win. Well, number one, a Republican named Murley could. And then with this Democrat split going on, and it's a bitter one, and with the horrible performance of Billy Gaughan and his candidate Cappellini, that's his candidate. So you're going to get more of the same with Cappellini, and you're going to change direction dramatically with Murley. So
that's what we need to get in there to do.
Well, again, thanks for running, and thanks for putting your reputation on the line for the rest of us. Best of luck, and you call in anytime you've got something to say, my friend. We'd love it.
Thanks for those kind words, Bob. I appreciate you having me on.
Now, we'll see you tonight.
Good. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Chet Murley, our candidate
Thanks,
for Lackawanna County Commissioner. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. It'll be. Well, it's John Lennon's birthday. My man Mark from Hazelton, I almost forgot, and he reminded me. We didn't have a song on the list for John Lennon, and so now we got it. By the way, Babylon Bee just came out. It says, James Comey produces letter signed by 51 former intelligence officials saying he's totally innocent. I do love this Babylon Bee. I mean, it's really funny, really good. Oh, Lord. What it is, just a disgrace. People like Pritzker, people like Chuck Schumer. Just think of any Democrat leader. We played the lie after lie after lie from Hakeem Jeffries. And here's the thing. Bernie Sanders may be stupid, and he is. He's an idiot. He doesn't even acknowledge history. Although maybe that makes him a bad person. I don't know. I haven't made the decision. But he talks and walks the walk of socialism and communism. AOC, the same thing. But then you have the rest of the Democrat leadership that are carrying the same water. Mamdani, at least he says, I'm a communist. He won't say those words. And he says, yeah, we're going to have city-owned stores. What could possibly go wrong there? In other words, they prove their idiocy with their very own words. But people like Pritzker and so many others, Pocahontas, they just lie about their positions repeatedly, disgracefully, continually. And then we get this disgrace. They hide behind the Democrat Party label of old, and just enough people are either crazy left-wing lunatics, are getting something out of the deal of this communist lurch, or they ain't paying attention and are voting against their own interests. And that's the combination they try to put together. And we haven't, sadly, we really never had it to this extent. Cappellini and Gahan, the Lackawanna County Commissioners, left-wing lunatics. Mayor Cognetti, left-wing lunatic. Like, they're all in on the insanity, on the lies. And they may be too dumb to know. I explained to candidate Cappellini, I know him, he's a nice guy. Sells cigars, love him. I explained to him at a party one time, I said, we're not a democracy. He flew into a rage. He doesn't know we're not a democracy. And to be a left-winger, you got to be ignorant, willfully or just generally, or both. I said, this is a constitutional republic. It's not a democracy. Couldn't believe it. Doesn't know it. And these people are running for office and spouting insanity and believing everything that their big brothers and sisters in the state and national party is espousing. All this damage. See, then when the damage doesn't work, then you have to lie. And when the lies don't work, you've got to use the government to force people to do things. It's the pattern. Unbelievable. Scary, scary, scary. By the way, our company, we're still politically correct. Columbus Day is not a holiday. The day after Thanksgiving is, but not Columbus Day. My God. You just scratch your head. George Soros bought the company now and bought us out of bankruptcy. Can't make it up. You can't make it up. I'm telling you. Oh, Lord, 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 Lord. So that's what happens. We've got to take a break because we need to hear from our great sponsors. We're going to come back. We have our final Veterans Tribute. We have the weather. And then we got more. If you want to reach us, text or calling 570-883-0098. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our man, a true patriot, John Basiliga. Just one of his great companies as we head into the weekend, Basiliga Hospitality. They've got 3 outstanding, fun, clean, beautiful bar restaurants with amazing food, like the Far Street Tavern. Reader's Choice winner of the best bar food, best neighborhood bar, 3 years in a row. Queen City Tavern, brand new in Oliphant, best bar. Go up Route 307. And you got the Old Brook Inn. Best outdoor dining, best place to have a first date, or second, or third, or fourth. Then you got the Scranton Art House, winner of the best movie theater 3 years in a row. And it is. And then you talk fine dining in a modern setting. Gorgeous Atera 519. Best fine dining, best new local restaurant, best wine selection. And then the amazing Stegmeyer Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre. You got to go check it out. It's like traveling to Newport and being able to sit down and have a meal. Outstanding food, too, by the way. Basiliga Hospitality. Sam Messina. We lost him October 4th at the age of 93. Mr. Messina was from West Pittston. He was born in Pittston, graduate of Pittston High School, class of 50. He started his military service in the U.S. Navy. He then went to the U.S. Army and continued his service for over 35 years in the Army Reserves. Sam truly embodied the characteristics of the greatest generation. He worked for many years as custodian at St. Rocco's Church and School, then Loudon Hill. For 26 years, he worked for Keystone Automotive. After retiring from there, he continued to work into his 80s for the Wyoming Area School District. He loved sports. Preceded in death by his wife, Joan, in 1998, as well as siblings and brothers. Survived by his daughter and his granddaughters. Sam Messina, another great American. Brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast. Meteorologist Joe Snedeker tells us today sunny, breezy, and cool, 58 degrees. Tonight, clear and cold, frost in spots. We have a, I don't know, Cutie would tell me. It's either an orange or a lemon. It's a lemon tree. I'm probably going to have to roll the stupid thing inside. I don't think we got it. Well, maybe we did get lemons from it. I'm not paying attention. Anyway, 32 is the low in spots tonight. Friday, sunny, 65 degrees. Saturday, sunny, 65 degrees. Sunday, cloudy and windy with rain likely, 60 degrees. Bob Cordaro back on the eponymous program, 570-883-0098 to reach us. And it bears repeating and continued repetition. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has 3 candidates up for retention, and they're furiously raising money from all the left-wing lunatic dark money and telling you how great they are. But they're 3 left-wing, and I mean extreme left-wing, Democrat Party machine people from Philadelphia and Allegheny County, Pittsburgh, political machines. Wecht, Donahue, and Doherty. Disgraceful. I don't know. Bob, the Democrat governor of Illinois and mayor of Chicago, when you state facts in like the last 10 years, Chicago's averaged 655 homicides a year. And the left-wing liberal media goes along with the lie when they say no. Somebody says, Gone is taking a page from the age-old Lackawanna County Dem playback. Irishman from Scranton needs a Goomba from the Mid-Valley. Corcoran Alberigi, then Corcoran Castellani. Oh, I know. But see, there's something more sinister going on. And that is the adoption, the consumption, and the effectuation of left-wing lunacy from their big brothers and big sisters in the Democrat Party in Harrisburg and Washington. That's transgender, that's open border, that's let the criminals run wild. All of it. And they all swallow it. Abortion up to birth and after, they all swallow all of it. And these are our local people now. Somebody said, you know, it just dawned on me, little Billy Gaughan and that woman running for governor in California. How about that nut? She looks like the woman. My first thought, I saw clips without the sound on. Katie Potatoes, her nickname is. And she's running for governor. She's really unstable, which most of the left-wingers are, by the way. Zero self-awareness, as our listener says. And she's just crazy. So Katie Potatoes running, and I thought she was that You know the woman she came out with this incredible singing voice on, what was that, America's Got Talent? One of those shows. And she was awesome. But then I said, oh, no, it's just another left-wing lunatic. It's not a great singer. Bob, if the government is shut down, why are taxes still being taken out of our paycheck? LTS, who's collecting them? I'm happy you mentioned that because Rob Bresnahan posted a bill in the House that says the IRS should be shut down while the government's shut down. Amen, Rob Bresnahan. Cut off the money to the federal government and they'll end this nonsense quickly. Quickly. Somebody said, somebody else texted in, Bob, don't you wish you could curse like a Dunmorian on the air? Dunmorians don't cuss. And by the way, I generally don't, except that sometimes they're funny. It's sometimes funny to curse, but other than that, I'm not a big cursor. Because you know what? Generally speaking, we use cuss words because we can't come up with real ones. They're just easier. Somebody had texted in, by the way. Where are we? Oh, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And that's the hypocrisy. So it's the hypocalypse. And that is Gahan, Kelly, Wendy Mayapolsky-Wilson, and Paige Cognetti. One says the four horsemen. One is on the horse facing the wrong way. One is mounted on a donkey. One's trying to saddle up a sawhorse. And one is telling the taxpayers to feed quarters into the mechanical horse ride, which is unplugged, by the way. Somebody helpfully providing a phone number for the Philly airport. Thank you. Somebody texted something in about, I'm looking for it, compassion. Where are we? Darn it. I wanted to respond to you, and I apologize. I didn't get your, what the heck? Oh, well. Something about basically that I'm not, we're not compassionate because nothing for illegals, nothing for health care. Well, number one, boy, it aggravates me. It's health care coverage. It is not health care. It's more than semantics. So that's number one. Very important. Number two, compassion. We can give money, and do, by the way. We're the greatest giver of foreign aid by a mile. By a mile. To help impoverished people around the world. They don't have to come here and screw things up for us. And I mean come here illegally. And we have the most, if we followed our laws, which Trump is doing, we have the most open immigration system in the world. We have the most compassion in the world. There's a difference between compassion and stupidity. And there is a reason when you're on an airplane and they tell you that when the bags drop down, put it over your mouth first so you're breathing, then help others. Do you get it? So don't give me this nonsense about compassion. It's all lies. By the way, if they were compassionate, the government would still be open, the Democrats. It would be open and they would be negotiating for the things they pretend they believe in. Yeah. All right, let's go quickly to Clive from Mountaintop. Hi, Clive.
Hi, Bob. Good morning. I got a little chuckle out of your analogy there with the airbags dropping down on the plane. But you're right. We take care of ourselves first as a country.
Otherwise, you can't help anybody.
Right, exactly. But real quick, I wanted to talk about the election, make my predictions.
Okay.
I'm not as optimistic as you are. You know that.
Yes.
Anyhow, the Democrats are going to win both the majority of county commissioners in Lackawanna County. All three Democrat state judges are going to be retained, and Democrats are going to win the governorship in Virginia and New Jersey. So don't count these people out yet.
Oh, no, never. That's why our theme song is, the battle is over, but the war goes on.
It's a good way to put it. And, I came across something reading, and this was a little shocking to me. And I went through and looked at the numbers to confirm it. If there had been a shift of 240,000 votes spread across three states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, had those 240,000 votes gone the other way to Harris, she would have won.
Yep.
That's scary.
Now, this wasn't the closest election in the century as she lies and claims, but you're 100% right. It is not. There are people voting for their self-interest, what they perceive to be. They're getting something out of the deal. And then there's a group of people that are left-wing lunatics, and then there are people that are completely blind to reality and vote just because of tradition. And those three together are dangerous.
Yeah, very true. Let me real quick move on to one thing unrelated. For the last several weeks, if not longer, we've been hearing on the news, Israel, Israel, Israel. And that's fine. But what about Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine? Here's a country that's taken a pounding in terms of death and destruction, far, far more than Israel. A quarter of the population has been displaced, children kidnapped, taken to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't blame Zelensky. Over the weekend, Sunday, I believe, he was on a talk show. He said, where is the world? Where is the world in all this? And I agree with that. Why aren't we helping Ukraine the way we help Israel?
Well, here's the problem. It's like anything else. If you do it the wrong way the first time, people become rightfully skeptical and even cynical. We just threw so much money at Ukraine that was unable to handle it. They didn't have the systems or the infrastructure to handle what we and the Europeans threw at them under the idiot Biden administration, that most of it was wasted. And unfortunately, nobody has trust in the delivery of all of this. And don't forget the billions and billions of equipment, military equipment, first-rate military equipment we left in Afghanistan. So there was no trust there. I can trust the Trump administration a little better, but we're already $200 to $300 billion in on this project, and we don't know what they did with it.
Well, we don't. What Biden did was just hand them trunks full of cash rather than equipment per se that they could have used in the war. And you're right. We gave
them the equipment. They didn't know how to operate, and there were people selling it.
I hadn't heard that.
Oh, yeah.
That's unfortunate. I
it's
hadn't heard
stuff
that.
It's stuff that it was so mismanaged that people developed a deserved mistrust in the process and in what Ukraine was doing with it. We gave them more than the entire Russian military budget, and we don't have anything to show for it.
Yeah, and the war goes on.
Yep. But you're right. We got to keep our eye on that. Thank you, Clive. We'll be back. We're going to finish with Kid Rock, who was moving up the charts with his hit Cowboy because both Bulldog and I forgot that we're going to play Stay by Jackson Browne. Remember that, Bull? We were going to try to play that? We both forgot. And Murph forgot too, so I feel a little better because Murph forgot, not just us. But we'll finish with Kid Rock. Cowboy, 1999, this date. He was moving up the charts with that hit, says our man Murph. Somebody asking me to play Grand Old Flag before I go on my brief break. I can't. I'm not going to get to it, but remind when we come back, we'll give it a shot. Now, I'm not going to do our usual Friday because it's only Thursday. We'll just finish acknowledging our veterans. Sam Messina, West Pittston. Joseph Doherty, South Abington Township. And Frank Kalura, Carbondale. God bless. So much going on. We're going to sneak I can't even sneak a phone call in. All right, let's try. Jim, 30 seconds, my man. Did I lose you? He heard me and thought I tried to go to him and it didn't work. Guys, we got a lot of work to do. And I have some of the pessimism that Clive has that we can't throw these Supreme Court justices out, but we're nipping at their heels. A lot of you have texted, well, there's, Trish Bynum and Gene Barrett are going to split votes, and Cognetti gets in and then runs for Congress while she continues to ignore being mayor. If we don't vote, yeah. I mean, if we give in to the pessimism, yeah, the pessimism becomes self-fulfilling. Chet Murley, well, Republicans can't win in Lackawanna County. Well, they can when the Democrats are split right down the middle, and we could restore sanity to county government and city government simultaneously. So let's see what happens, all right? If all I ask is this, the people listening, you vote and let business take care of itself. If we lose, we lose, but at least you say we tried, right? All right. Well, it's always great being with you. You know that. I'm going to miss you. I really am. I hope you're going to miss me. I'll be back next Thursday morning, God willing. But until then, I must gavel to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, reminding you the Sue Henry Show's next. Rob O'Donnell after that. The Bulldog's on his own with the best of Bob Cordaro and whatever else starting tomorrow. Have a great one, guys. We are adjourned.